I was trying to place a Starbucks order here with
this
Dave
is a
today,
Wendy's.
and he would not take my order. He would not accept it. So I just made a drink.
Not
instead.
true. Not true. Let's peel back the curtain here so that you can understand the level that our friendship is at now. I had 2 espresso pods left, which is what it requires to make this drink, and they were going to you.
I appreciate that. Hey, yo.
What up?
Welcome back. Who Effing Knows podcast episode. What are we on?
33.
33. Give me a good number. You got one?
Like player?
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen did?
There you go. There you go. I like that one. I was going to come up with an official podcast sponsor for the night, but I figured we'd reevaluate in 2 weeks.
Why?
I don't know. It just felt right.
Okay.
Just felt right. How you been, buddy?
Oh, it's been a day.
It's been a day.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Tell me more. You said you were exhausted.
Yeah, I had, so anybody that doesn't know me, I am a firefighter at a chemical plant, which means yearly refresher trainings.
Fun.
This one was my fire training. So from 7 to 3, we wear that fucking gear for probably about 6 hours straight, and it was 80 degrees outside. It's just hot and exhausting, and that stuff is heavy. And that's it. Just a day. On top of the sleep that comes with having a 3-week-old. You know what I mean? It's just all together.
All right. Okay.
That's
I'm like,
it's just physical exhaustion. This is not like a mental exhaustion thing.
no, I feel you. I feel you. That's okay. Tonight,
I feel like I let you down on that.
no, you're good. You're good. I was gonna make fun of you, and then I was like, I can't make fun of a firefighter who has a newborn. That's not fair. So we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna keep it moving.
Feel free to make fun of me anytime you want. It's fine.
I do it on Twitter enough. I was trying to place a Starbucks order here with
this
Dave
is a
today,
Wendy's.
and he would not take my order. He would not accept it. So I just made a drink.
Not
instead.
true. Not true. Let's peel back the curtain here so that you can understand the level that our friendship is at now. I had 2 espresso pods left, which is what it requires to make this drink, and they were going to you.
I appreciate that.
That's it, and that would have been it. I'd have had to wait a week or whatever to get more.
A week.
Yeah, I can't ever find the ones I like in store. I always have to find somewhere to order them online. Not the ones that I like. I can't ever find Nespresso pods anywhere. I used to buy them at Bed Bath & Beyond, but they didn't have them. So I found a place online. I don't know where they're shipping from, but it takes like a week to get here.
You know, there's subscription services for everything.
Dude,
these
listen,
days.
we've had this conversation before where I'm the king of forgetting to cancel subscriptions.
This feels like one that you might take advantage of.
You're right. But also, I just paid a year for like a golf app that I've only used twice.
A golf app?
I had a free so I get the free subscriptions, the free trials, and it's never the ones that are like, yeah, you get a week. Those, I'm good. I always cancel them. Some of them will give you like 3 months free. Yeah. I've had a couple give me a year free, and I just forget because they'll do the thing. Some of them where you can start it and cancel it right away, and you're good.
That. I love those.
But these are the ones where you're like, it cancels when you cancel. It's like you get this free trial, but when you cancel, it's over. So I'm like, all right, well, I get it for a year. I might as well use it for a year just in case. And then I forget, and
so
that's it.
I have thoughts on this, and we're going to get into my personal life a little more here that you guys don't hear about. So I work in customer success. Nobody knows what the hell that term means. I work for a tech startup, so my contracts are a little different than what I'm about to talk about. But basically my job is to retain people when they want to cancel. Not really. That's not my job. If my manager heard me say that, she'd be like, absolutely not. That's not your job. My job really is to keep showing value. That way people just want to stay with us and renew and put them on a success plan and make sure they're meeting their goals. Anyways, that's the boring stuff. the part of me, the professional part of me that works in that industry, though, when I see someone like be like, "Oh, you can cancel, but you have to call us in order to cancel," I'm like, "You fucking asshole!"
Planet Fitness.
Like it's the best strategy in the world because they have the opportunity to resell you, and like you should always bake that in. But man, do I fucking hate it.
Man, well, Planet Fitness has taken that to another level. You have to go in the thing.
It's so annoying. And what makes me say that is I was gifted like 3 free meals from Blue Apron a long time ago by somebody that had like little gift cards they gave me, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll try that out." So I did it. They make you put your credit card in for your free meals, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever. I'll just cancel." Well, I kept doing it for a while. I was like, whatever, this is cool. Like, I don't have to go to the grocery. Some of these meals I'll do. You can skip it if you don't want to do it. It seemed easy enough. It's easy stuff to cook. It comes out pretty okay. But when I got sick of it and I wanted to cancel, you can't fucking cancel anywhere. You got to call them. You got to go through like a 4-step process. And I'm like, I'm going to skip it every month. And you know what I hate even more is my credit card expired. So I had an out. And I was like, "Oh, fuck it. I'll just let it go." And then my dumb ass was like, "I liked Blue Apron. Let me put a new credit card in here now that it's been 5 months and go ahead and get this thing going again." Now I hate it again. And I'm like, funny. Why did I do this to myself?
Let's see. The things that I have forgot to cancel. So Planet Fitness wasn't me forgetting to cancel. That was just pure laziness. I guarantee you I paid for my Planet Fitness membership without going for at least a year. At least. And then, so there was a lawn service thing I had where, like, it's called Sunday. So, like, you subscribe at the beginning of the year, and then throughout the year, they send you the lawn care stuff. Forgot to cancel that, so that was like $180.
Does that stuff work? Because I use
some of it did.
Side topic.
Yeah,
here.
Some of it did. Some of it didn't. They sent me this weed killer that. Like, I was coughing when I was spraying it in my grass, but it worked.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, it worked. Worth $180? I don't know. But, I mean, I guess if you buy the bags of shit throughout the year, it probably ends up being about the same. So there was that. The golf app was like $70. The Calm app, I had a free year of that with one of my credit cards. Forgot to cancel that. That was like another $70. It's a problem. I need help.
It sucks. I'm sorry, man.
There's definitely more.
You're probably the same as me, to where when you're like wrapped up in that stuff, eventually you only cancel because your card expires. Like I was just saying, and then it's just like, fuck it. Like,
yeah,
you ain't getting no more money from me.
Like, I've had to I legitimately have to put reminders on my phone to cancel. Like, if I don't, it's gonna be mine forever.
Forever.
Problem is, and you know what it is though? Most of the things I like them. I don't use them enough.
Right.
Like the golf app, it's great. I can track my score when I go play. It gives you little lessons in there. I just play 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do I need this?
So me, someone who works in the industry of trying to retain you, my first thought is, well, how do we get you to play golf more? Why aren't you playing golf? What can we do to get you to the course and get this app utilized?
Give me a course over here and I'll go play.
Oh, we can't do all that. I can find courses in your area. Let's move on. No more boring subscription talk. Not that we have anything to talk about.
I feel like these are relatable topics that people like to hear about. Somebody is going to watch that and be like, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair.
The official podcast of people who forget to cancel subscriptions.
We found it.
There you go.
It hasn't been quite 2 weeks.
We'll still reevaluate, though.
Yeah, always reevaluate. Shout out Jose Alvarado. I don't want to talk about the team, but I'll shout out Jose. What a shitty end to the season for him. Or a great end, but having a phenomenal Rising Stars game, almost having the opportunity to build off of that, and then immediately, getting hurt, and now he's what looks like I'm assuming out for the rest of the season. Like, there's not going to be that long of a run.
Yeah, and, man, that whole... Just the whole situation it becomes so toxic. Just, shout out to Zion too.
Well, of course, but
because
I wasn't going to touch that.
I just want to say it because he's going to catch the slander, and I mean maybe some of it is like you don't know how much of it is him not taking care of his body. He seems like he does now.
Yeah,
it seems like he does. But no matter what, he's going to catch the heat. And I don't know. I'm growing tired of this fan base. I'm going to be honest with you.
I love you guys.
Not all of the fan base. When I say the fan base, it's not all of the fan base. There's just actually, you know what? These moments have made it easier for me to like cleanse
your timeline,
my Twitter, because I just when it pops up, just like, yep, that's gonna be an unfollow. Although Twitter sucks, and they still somehow show up on
Oh my god, dude! There's like, people I unfollowed a year ago that are showing up, and I'm like, why? Right. People I blocked. I'm like, how is this on my timeline right now?
That's the thing. I try to avoid the block button. Like, I just want to unfollow you. That's it.
I block certain people.
Now it's gonna have to get to that point. That's what it's gonna take.
I muted people for a while. That didn't work. So then I blocked them. Yeah, it doesn't matter. No, there is a sense of toxicity. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole too much because I think by talking about it, you're kind of contributing to it.
It's just frustration.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right. I agree. But no, as far as Zion goes, I have always been in the same camp as I know he's not really known for sports as much anymore, but as Devin from Holdemea, the Red Bean guy, for anybody out there that doesn't know him that way. His whole thing was like, we'll wait for Zion. He used to do a radio show. People would call in, they'd hate on him, call him fat, all these nasty things. And he would be like, dude, no, like we're not doing that here. Like that's not what we're doing. And that's kind of the mindset I've always had. Bring it to present day. I think he's definitely taking care of himself. He had a hamstring injury. Like that shit happens. It happened to Devin Booker, and he was out for a long time.
I almost don't want him to come back. I'm like, I get why. Like if you're in the playoffs, you obviously want him there, but hamstring injuries suck, man. Like just one bad move, and he's gonna be out for half of next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you want to make sure that he's ready.
Yeah, and after missing last year, he's going to be ready. Like, or he's going to tell you he's ready and wants to go. He wanted to go last year.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He's
ready now.
Yeah.
If you ask him right now, he wants to play right now.
It's just a weird situation, man. It's like realistically, what are your chances with him coming back? Because is he going to be? I don't think he's 100% of himself if he does come back, but 70-80% of Zion is.
It's still phenomenal.
Right.
I think, you know what I honestly think, and this is in no way meant in a negative way, I think that even if he comes back with 2 games left is the 2-week timeline, even if we make the play-in, which I think we may. Honestly, I still think we may make the play-in.
I keep on saying no, but yeah, you know.
I think that you've seen with this team so often, it takes them a while figuring out how to play together. I still don't know if they know how to play together right now. I think they just played some bad teams. Like, yes, they forced the ball to Jonas more when he's on the court, which you should do if he's on the damn court, to let everything else open up. But I think with him coming back, you make the play-in, you're probably not going to have a great offensive strategy or approach because it's going to take time to figure out, okay, he's back. Do we just let him run the offense? How do we do this?
The craziest thing is, like, you say you don't know if they know how to play together. We don't even know if they work together because of how little games they've played. You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
That's not even a shot at anybody. That's just we don't know. We literally don't know. And I don't know. That's honestly the most frustrating thing for me, that we're this many seasons in and
listen, I
don't know.
I can be unapologetically optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person in general. You know, the rose-colored glasses tell me, oh, he could come back and he could be dominant, and we could see that team we saw game 1 against the Nets, and we're going to roll through a lot of people. Well, it turns out the Nets weren't very good, first of all. And who knows? Like, I don't know. Like, you can go either way, right? Like,
yeah. You know what's crazy? Isn't it crazy, like, the similarities just, like, between, like, him and Michael Thomas? Just the fact that, so, the reason, like, this specific injury, not like the injury itself, but the situation where Mike shouldn't have came back for that initial injury, but he's doing it to try to, because he's a competitor and wants to do it, gets hurt. And, you know, that's what's in the back of my head when I look at the Zion situation. I'm like, we've seen this with him. I don't want the same thing with Zion. I don't know, man. Just it sucks.
It sucks for a couple reasons. First and foremost, it sucks because obviously the players are out, right? Like, it sucks anytime they're not playing, both of them, regardless of, you know, what's going on. The second part that makes it suck even more is that obviously the fan bases are normally the same people. Like, a lot of the same people are a part of both fan bases.
Right.
So there's a lot of, like, bleed over between blaming the medical staff, blaming the player. on both ends because people are just sick of it. They're sick of seeing people hurt. They're sick of Michael Thomas not playing. They're sick of Zion not playing, and they're blaming the player for it, which is frustrating because like you can't control injuries. You really can't. You just genuinely can't. You can pretend you can all you want. Shit happens. Call it bad luck. Call it what you want. Like, yes, you can strengthen other parts of your body. There's things you can do to protect yourself better. But, like, at the end of the day, injuries happen. And blaming those guys and acting like those guys don't want to be here or treating them in some negative way because they're hurt and they're not playing. They're competitors. They want to play, especially. I mean, you just alluded to it, guys like Michael Thomas and Zion.
Yeah, if you don't, that was the thing that, and I hate that we're like harping on this like negativity right now, like the negative situations. But that's what frustrated me about Michael Thomas the entire time is people were saying he doesn't want to be out there. Like the guy got hurt coming back too early just to try to win Drew Brees another ring. That is the only reason he came back. Like, that's the whole reason he was out. And then, like that, and then the people that say once he got his money, he didn't want to play. Like, that's just stupid because he broke the record after he got his money, you know? So those two things were the thing that pissed me off about him. But it's the same with Zion. Now, like, last year or whatever with Zion, he didn't do himself any favors by not saying anything. But then again, like, he doesn't owe us anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, I mean, if people are talking that much shit about me all the time, I don't know that I would say anything either.
Right.
You know? So
I don't blame him for the way. Well,
and he's a kid. I mean, he's a kid.
Right.
Yes, he has to be a professional because he's where he's at, but he's a kid. He's only 22, which is another reason that I'm not ready to give up on.
I'm definitely not ready to give up on Zion.
You know what
That's
I
not
mean?
even a question. That shouldn't even be on the fucking timeline. That was a joke.
Anyway.
Anyways, we can move
Yeah.
on from that.
A lot of negativity. We need to bring this positivity back.
Well, speaking of negativity,
yes.
There's one thought I had. If we can get a little, I don't know. I've already been a little personal as far as like work goes, but I had a thought earlier, and it does blur in or bleed into the conversation we're already having about injury, things like that. Foster Moreau, we all saw it today, or hopefully you've seen it by now. If not, you're about to hear it. Foster Moreau was visiting with the Saints. I don't know if they were working towards a contract or whatever, but they evaluated him, and they found that he had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
So he's stepping away from football, which is fucking scary, first of all. Like, just out of the blue, realizing, oh, shit, I have this cancer I have to battle.
Right. I was trying to put myself in that situation. Like, to me, if they're reaching that point where he's doing the physical, it almost seems like he was coming. You know, so like you're doing the physical, you probably go in there because he probably feels fine. Yeah, you know, so he goes in there. He's like, "Yeah, I'm about to get signed with this team." He's from here, isn't he? I know he played at LSU.
He played at LSU. I don't know if he's from here.
But he coming back home in a sense. Like he's gonna he's gonna be with Derek Carr again. So he's all excited, and then they call you in, and you get that. And like, talk about fucking roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like not only are you not playing for this team, but now, hey, you have this other battle you have to go fight. Yeah. And maybe you'll be able to come back and play football again. Like, your career might be over in a sense, like right there in a snap.
And his was like just getting started. Like he had just started to come on last year.
Shit, your career, I mean, your fucking life, right? Yeah. Like, that's the scary part. Yeah. There's just so many things that weigh on you then and there.
Be like early 20s.
Yeah, he's young. Well, and it gets me thinking, right? Like, not to get too deep here. We can get deep. We got nothing to talk about. We're going to talk about wrestling in a minute, but, that's right. We talked about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Spoiler alert.
Not to get too deep here, but it got me thinking, I read that and I see that. I don't know. I didn't look into his family background or anything like that, but it got me thinking, like, my biggest fear. Like, what is my biggest fear? Like, that's a big thing that would catch you out of the blue and, like, really suck. I think my biggest fear is something similar to that. Like, I was thinking through it earlier. I'm trying to figure out the words to put it in. That's why I'm pausing here so much. I guess like dying young, or like leaving my children before they're old enough to realize life, or before I've led them enough to be young adults or prepared for life. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know if I said that the way I wanted to, but that's the thought I had earlier when I was just sitting there kind of reflecting on this whole situation. So I guess now I turn it over to you and I ask you, what is your biggest fear?
Well, dude, it's so weird that you bring that up. I've, like, a while back, like maybe not when we first started this, but like when we had like nothing to talk about. So I have this long drive to work, and it's sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning. And there'll be times, as weird as this now, where I don't listen to anything, like just silence, and you just think, And I've thought about that exact thing, and I was like, I wonder if Patty would talk about this on the podcast, because it is an interesting topic. Yeah. But we had just started, and we hadn't gotten to like this level yet, where we talk about whatever. But where I talk to you almost as much as I talk to my wife. But no, so I guess it's kind of morbid that I've had this thought before, but I don't fear that. My fear is dying young and not having my people that I care about set up, right, and being okay. My fear, it might sound crazy, but like that's not a fear to me of dying young, because I just believe in, if it happens, it happens. Like, it would suck for my kids to grow up without me, right? And obviously, but it's almost a sense of like, I don't know, as long as they're set up, like I know they have enough people in their life that they would be okay,
Yeah, and that's fair.
Like life is tough. And I just have faith that they would be able to get through it over time. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if this comes off as harsh or not. I don't. But it's all as long as they're okay. Like if I went today and I didn't think they'd be okay for like the rest of their lives, and I'm not even talking like financially, whatever. Like right. Those kind of things are taken care of through whatever. But I don't know. As long as I could feel like I left them in an okay situation, right? I think I'd be okay. I'd say I could live with it, but in this situation, you wouldn't. You would not live with it. Someone else would live with it. I don't know if it's just because. So I've had a good amount. It's like 3 or 4, which is too many. Like friends die young, and just family friends like tragically pass. I think because I've been through that so much, that I've kind of just accepted that as a possibility. Right. I don't know. It's kind of a dark thought, but
I mean, it is dark, but talking about your biggest fear is going to end up being dark in some way, right? Like, I think for me, I mean, I agree, right? Like, as long as they're set up for life, like that's very important. Like, that's something that I do rest my hat on, so to speak. I know that if I were to pass away for whatever reason, they're fine. Like, they'll be fine. As far as their house goes, the house could essentially be paid off. They could live here and they'll get by. They have a good family. They'll have good values, things like that. Like that's fine. I think, and maybe it's selfish. It's more of like, I want them to know me. Like I want them to truly know me. I want them to know who I am, how I think, how I react to situations. I want to be able to form their opinions and their feelings towards the world and towards other people. I want them to, I guess I want them to look at the world the way I do and not the way other people do, because I feel like some other people are very close-minded, and I fear that without me, who knows? But at the same time, like, you marry your wife for certain reasons. For sure, yeah. And it's not a her thing. That's not what I'm saying here. But it is tough to, like, even though it's like the mother of your child, like, to put that, it's putting a lot of responsibility on somebody else. Right. I don't know. Stress. I understand exactly where you're coming from. It's just, I don't know. Like, it is a fear, but when you say fear, I kind of look at it as like, you're worried about it happening every day. Oh no. And that's not like at all. Well, it's funny because I literally have, like, I wrote down a life motto. I write down a lot of shit when I randomly think of it, and it's not like anything fucking, what did I actually write? It's something that everybody says. Yeah, I ain't here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Like, that's literally what I live by every day. I just want to have fun. I just want to create memories. Like, I'm going to die one day. It is what it is. I'm not scared of dying. I'm just scared of what happens after I die. Like, how is everybody else? Yeah. I care about people too much, man. That's the whole genesis of this. I'm with you. I think we're on the same page there.
I think I just said it in a darker way.
No, I don't think so.
It's so weird. Like me, I've never even had that conversation like with my wife. I don't like talking about stuff like that to her. Like I've had these conversations with my friends
Right.
100 times, but I don't know. I feel weird putting that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's funny. I will talk to, I won't say anyone about anything, but in most cases, I will just share my thoughts. I'll share how I feel. I'll try and not offend anyone. Hopefully, I don't offend anyone with the things I say. But like I said last podcast when I was a little buzzed, I'm an open book. Like I will tell you stories about my life that I probably shouldn't. And I think I learned that from my dad because my dad is unfiltered. He is.
My mom is the same way.
My dad is. A lot of circles would consider him inappropriate. In every facet, not just like, no, we're not talking politics. We're not talking anything like that. We're just in general inappropriate, which is kind of endearing. People love him for it. That's the main thing about him is he's just such a caring person. See, now I'm talking about my dad, gushing about my dad. But yeah, I don't know.
I think there's a few things that I feel like I don't know, just from like the time that we've gotten to know each other, I feel like we're very similar in all of these kind of things. Like, so I was thinking about something the other day, and it's weird how it came up because talking to a buddy of mine about interviews and stuff, and we were just talking about like some ridiculous interview questions that people ask you, and they're like, what do you consider your biggest failure? And then I got deep with it in my head. I'm like, I don't believe in failure.
Right.
Because I'm like, everything you do, to me, you learn from is a lesson.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't believe in failure. And then I'm start just ridiculously thinking like, what if I told somebody that when they were interviewing me? How would they take that?
Well, the thing with those questions is like your answer doesn't matter. I mean, your answer matters, but not in a sense of like there's no right or wrong answer there. They want to know how you think.
Yeah.
Like I think that's more of like a culture fit question. This is me getting back into my professional brain. Like,
see, I think like, so I feel like the work you're in, like that corporate thing, is different than not the kind of questions they ask. But I feel like if you said something like that in a corporate world, I feel like they're more open minded. Where I'm at, feels like a very closed minded type of individual that works where I work.
You're not wrong. So it's definitely you said corporate world. It's not corporate world.
I didn't have a better term.
It's more of like the tech startup world, right? Like my friend, I have a very good friend of mine. I love him to death.
I don't want to pretend to know anything about your job because I don't.
That's all right. That's all right. Which is funny. I'm flying out 5 a.m. tomorrow, which I hate. So that's why I'm drinking right now so I can get some sleep instead of doing coffee. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I have a friend of mine who was interviewing for a job. He was changing jobs. We were talking a little bit about what I do, and he interviewed at another company, and after the interview, he tells me, yeah, I think you'd be a better fit at this company than me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, they're a little woke. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? So it's just, but, and I don't mean anything negative by him saying that. He's not that kind of guy where he's like claiming woke as a weird thing or anything like that. It was just like the culture he's always been in, like that's not something he's used to. So I mean, you being a firefighter at a plant, like I totally get. Get
anybody that lives down here knows not every person that works in that industry, but most people that work in that industry are the exact same, have the same mindsets.
Yeah.
Across all landscapes.
Yeah.
If you understand where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And I often don't feel like I fit in personality-wise there, but. Yeah, so that's all I mean by that is they're not. I say closed-minded, which maybe that's the best way to put it. I don't know. I think that stuck in their ways is probably the best way to. I don't know.
Maybe people grow up how they grow up, and they know what they know, and they're comfortable with what they're comfortable with. And I try not to fault anyone for thinking differently from me, or even thinking the same as me. I'm not always right by any means. I think for me, what I try to do, and it's probably why I can be friends with people on every end of the spectrum, I genuinely don't judge and don't care. Oh, I care, but like I don't judge for the way people think. I more so always approach situations and I don't mean this in like I think of doing this. This is just how I am. I approach situations in a sense of like, I want to know why someone thinks the way they do. I genuinely do. So if somebody's like, hey, I don't like this type of person, in my brain, there's wheels turning, and I'm like, why? Like, what happened? Who, like, at what point in your life did you learn that you shouldn't like that person?
Yeah.
And that's just how my brain works. Genuinely. Whether it's that or like, I don't like pizza. Okay, why? Why the fuck don't you like, everybody likes pizza. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't say that. I'm just like, oh, all right, cool.
So,
Weird.
that was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get into these kind of things.
I will talk about anything, man.
I honestly believe we could have a whole second podcast
We
just that. Honestly, if this podcast turned into just that, I'd be cool with it.
Dude, I had a buddy of mine that I did my original podcast with. It's called Story and Chop. It's dead now. It's got like 4 episodes. Don't judge younger me if you go listen to it.
Hey, we're
But,
almost 30 episodes more. How about that?
Yeah, we're way more. It was in the middle. It was probably more than 4, but still. It was in the middle of the pandemic when like everything was heightened. Every subject politically mattered.
Yeah.
And we dove into everything. I mean, he was, first of all, I'm white from the South, Louisiana. He's black from like New York, like the city. So we dove into topics, and like we had open discussions where it was just like, yeah, man, like this is how I think. This is why I think this way. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out, kind of like what I was just saying, like let's figure out why people think this way or why people think the other way, and like let's just have an open discourse, and hopefully people hear it and either agree, disagree, think deeper on it, whatever it is, you know, like that's how I like to approach things.
Well, those topics are more, I mean, at least to me, like they're more fun. I say fun, I mean more engaging. Everybody talks sports. Everybody's got sports opinions, and sports opinions to me tend to be more black and white almost, in a way. On not everything, but I'm sure you know what I'm trying to say. But when it comes to these things, it's like
there's a lot of gray area.
Yeah. So I feel like there's more of a conversation to be had about those kind of things. And like we're talking about life, like we tend to have the same perspective on a lot of things, but there's 100 different perspectives on the things we just talked about.
If I had to stereotype us, just being honest, because we're a little alike, and the way my brain works, I was just explaining, we're both younger white males. We're both husbands. We both have children. We're both from somewhat of not a disadvantaged background, but definitely not like a established family that's like got money. You know what I mean? Like, grew up in public school. You know, like that's just how I think through this. Like, you know, so I think that we're probably gonna have a lot of the similar upbringing and backgrounds. Like you're from Chalmette, I'm from Old Jefferson. Some people think of Old Jefferson as like, oh, whatever, but like I basically hung out in Shrewsbury. Like I don't know if that means anything, but I'm just trying to like find correlations here, you know. Yeah,
we should dive into those things more.
We can, man, we can, but for now we're gonna dive into wrestling,
which we've only done I think once or twice before.
Yeah, welcome to the official wrestling podcast. Who effing knows?
Yeah.
WFK.
Yeah, if you don't like wrestling, you can just cut off right there, and there you go. But you shouldn't, because we all grew up.
We did.
Like in wrestling. That's where we should start this conversation. We don't have to get deep into it.
Let's do it.
But I think we've already established it before that both of us grew up. Like my family was diehard.
Yeah, the Headbangers story, man. That was a great story.
Yeah. Like we've been to every show. We've traveled to multiple WrestleManias, like 2 or 3. The most famous one being the Rock and Stone Cold WrestleMania in Seattle. We were there for that. And I know we went to another one in Houston. Maybe there may have been one more, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, that was like sitting down and watching all the shows and all the pay-per-views was like must. It was like a weekly thing for us.
For sure.
Like you planned your week around that.
Yeah. I remember being like, yes, we'll get into some more topics in a second, but I remember being like, I think I was like 8 years old or 7 years old. I was at a friend's house, and first of all, when I was young, and this is going to date me, when I was young, we didn't really play video games. Like we didn't really have video games. There was like an Atari. I think the Nintendo was out, but like nobody really had it. We're always outside, so like we knew all the neighbors, we knew all the kids in the neighborhood, and there was a guy who had a kid, but we weren't really friends with the kid, but we were like hanging out with him this day, and they had like WWF In Your House on. I don't even remember like what year it was. I was 7, so probably like 95. I don't know.
I was only 2.
Yeah, I know. I'm old. But I just remember like Ahmed Johnson being on this show and me, for whatever reason, thinking he was the baddest motherfucker on the planet Earth. Like, I was like, damn, like he's going to whoop some. I don't know. And like, I was just enamored with wrestling. Like, just.
See, I grew up in the Attitude Era. Like, my childhood was the Attitude Era.
Well, I went into that.
Yeah, my first exposure is Attitude Era. So.
Yeah. That's when I really, like, it heightened for me. I really started watching because, like...
Oh, I think that's everybody.
Yeah. Because I was 7 at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't actually watch. It just was the first time I watched. When I actually started watching, I think, like, the NWO was just forming, was when I first started really, really watching. Yeah. And then the rest is history.
Yeah. And we brought wrestling up because I told him that they're sucking me back in. I don't know. I know I've seen you tweet about it a couple times, so I don't know how much you watch, whether you just catch glimpses or whether you know what's going on at all. But what did it originally is this whole Bloodline storyline.
It's a good storyline, man.
It sucked me. Like, I saw people talking about it on Twitter for a while, and I was like, let me watch a couple times, because like when I've tried to dive back in a few times, and I just never got into it. I think the last time I tried was like, it felt like they were trying. This was years ago. It felt like they were trying to force Roman Reigns on people. Yeah. So when I first saw that it was a Roman Reigns storyline, I'm like, like he wasn't for me.
He's so much better now, though.
Yeah. Now that I'm watching, I'm like, all right, this guy he's up there.
He's actually got a character now. Back then, he just didn't really have a character. He was just a remnant of the Shield.
He went out for a while with
He had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
That's what I thought. And it seemed like once he came back.
That was his second time, though.
Was it?
He was in remission originally, I think, and then it came back.
I don't even, like I said, I didn't even follow it that much. But yeah, this whole Bloodline thing, and then as I watch more and I learn like how they're related to people I grew up watching and stuff like that.
Cool,
yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So then there's and then you still have the thing with like some of your favorite superstars are still there. Like Rey Mysterio is one of my all-time favorites. So now he's got his little storyline going, and that's cool. So it's like all sucking me back in. It's WrestleMania season, so like all the shit is coming. Cody's awesome.
Cody is awesome, man. Cody established himself, man. He did great. The whole him leaving and basically pioneering AEW, building his brand and coming back now as a main event star is phenomenal.
Yeah. I don't know if you are the same way as me when it comes to this now. So like growing up, I was more into the matches. Now I'm more into the dialogue. Like I'll find because I never really watch it live now. Like I'll probably watch WrestleMania live because now I'm invested and I got to see how this all plays out.
Right.
And I have Peacock, so I don't have to pay for it. It's just there.
You subscribe?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So do I. It's fine. It's like $7.99 a month or some shit like that.
I got the yearly plan.
Oh, good for you.
At like a discount.
Big baller.
Anyway. I forgot what I was even saying.
I like to cancel after WrestleMania season, to be honest. That's why I do.
Well, the Peacock has The Office. It's the only way I can watch The Office.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, what was I even telling you? I don't know what I was talking about.
You said something about WrestleMania season. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Fuck, I forgot.
Dead air. We're on a podcast, bro. We can't just let it die.
Well, now I'm... well, and I was saying that they've sucked me back in with this. Cody's awesome. There's I was saying the more into the dialogue now is what I was getting into.
Oh yeah.
It seems like they finally have some people that like you said, like have characters again that I like. Like we talked about LA Knight.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, and I can and I guess in a way I do kind of appreciate the wrestling a little more now that I know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I could tell who's a good like in-ring person, who's not. But yeah, like when they got me with the storyline, I found myself watching the recording of it, and sometimes I'll just fast forward through some of the matches. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like I want to hear the storyline.
I feel the same. I like the matches, and I've actually always been more of a storyline guy. Even when I was younger, like I loved the random storylines, the factions, NWO, DX, all that stuff. I remember there was a group called Kai and Tai. Did you watch back then?
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably because I was young. My most memorable moment, as I think I was probably like 11 when this happened. I should not have been watching this. There was a guy named Val Venus. You know who Val Venus is?
I remember Val Venus.
Okay. Porn star gimmick for anybody that doesn't know. Basically, the storyline was he slept with the leader of Kai and Tai's wife. So like they go back and forth for weeks. You know, different scenarios, talking crap to each other. Video packages of him like messing around with the wife, but not really, but just like alluding to it. And then like I remember one Monday Night Raw, they like captured him finally, and they like strap him up and they have his arms up, and the guy, his whole thing was like, I'm a choppy yo pee pee.
We've talked about this already.
Did we talk about this?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That's not a story I could forget,
dude. I was like 11, and I'm like, I was just like, what the fuck, like. And it stuck with me ever since.
I think the wildest things that stuck with me from like that time was like when they would crucify Stone Cold. Like, look at that. Like, they could never do that now. They just cannot. I don't like. I love to go back and watch and be like, or like when Vince used to have the Kiss My Ass Club, like all those crazy things. I'm like, just imagine trying to pull that off now.
Yeah, they did some wild shit.
Like, I follow a bunch of like old WWE things on Twitter. And they always posting stuff like that, and it's the craziest shit. But
I forget who it is. I follow somebody on Instagram, and they're hilarious. It's a podcast, and it's like a group of like 3 or 4 guys, and they talk through like random or the clips I see. They're like talking through random moments in wrestling history, and they like crack me the fuck up because they're like, yeah, and this motherfucker was just like blah blah blah, and like I don't know. I'll share it eventually. I'll find it and I'll share it. But
I love that.
There's some hilarious moments that they just go back through. It make me die laughing and just reminisce. But
do you have like a top? We've kind of talked about it before because you talked about Bray Wyatt. Just to close out our wrestling segment that we didn't really get much into, but
we'll talk again.
It is what it is. Do you have like a top 3 favorite right now, like current? Not current. So like for me, I'm not going to include Rey Mysterio. He's one of my all-time favorites, but I'm not going to include him in my.
Yeah, I would not
in my
include
current.
him currently.
Still love him, but I'm trying to think of like the new people.
You know,
you can count Roman if you like Roman.
I do like Roman, but he's not. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'll give you a 1. I'll give you 1, and I've alluded to it twice already in this podcast. I think my favorite right now, and he's underrated, or he's probably not underrated by people that watch, but I think I want to see how he develops and if he gets pushed and like the storylines and how they go. I love LA Knight.
Yeah.
I love LA Knight.
He's one of like the villains. He's definitely my favorite.
Villain or not, he's kind of like I don't know. He's not like a true villain, but he's just like this is maybe a good comparison, maybe a bad comparison. People might rip me for it. He reminds me of Stone Cold, where he just doesn't fucking care.
It's supposed to be the Stone Cold,
but it's different.
It is different, but that's what it is.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I agree. I could definitely see him making the turn to be that something like that. I think I've heard Stone Cold talk about before where like he was never supposed to be like a fan favorite. Like he was supposed to be a heel the whole time, but people loved him so much that they just couldn't ever get it to not ever, but it was hard for him to go that direction.
There's also like
same with The Rock. Like they always said The Rock was so charismatic. It was hard to
There's booking strategies. If we can get nerdy for a second, people might call me a mark for this. That's right. I'm throwing out some of these weird terms. There's booking strategies where like heels or bad guys will purposely do certain things.
Right.
And like Stone Cold didn't necessarily do those things. Like yeah, he might like he had a character where he just didn't fucking care if you liked him, but that made him more endearing. But he never like did the classic things that a bad guy would do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and then he does the whole where you're like fighting the corporation.
Right.
You know, so it's hard to not love that guy.
And when he did finally turn, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I wasn't even watching anymore. I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
And that's actually when I slowly started fading away from
I don't
wrestling.
know when I started fading away. So my favorite, LA Knight's one of my favorites too.
Bray Wyatt, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's in this weird situation now.
It is weird.
He's not on TV enough. I don't know what the hell's going on with him.
Yeah, I like
The stories are slow.
one of my favorites right now is Montez Ford.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that dude is a superstar in the making.
Yeah.
Like you could tell, like he's got that. You say LA Knight is very Stone Coldish. He's almost The Rockish, where he's got like those. He does that comedy, kind of thing. I like that. He's a completely different style of wrestling than The Rock, obviously, but it's like that where him and what's his partner's name? I can't think of it.
Yeah, I lost it too. As soon as you said it, I was thinking it.
I can't think something with a D, I think. But anyway,
shit.
they go back and they clown people and it's fun. So he gives me the Rock vibes, or even like a Chris Jericho kind of vibe where they would do that all the time.
Yeah.
I like him. Seth Rollins is awesome. This new. I don't know I don't know how I feel about this weird like crazy person character he's doing right now.
He's the Joker. He just stole the Joker.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's who he is.
But he's one where like his in-ring stuff I enjoy a lot.
Yeah.
So those three are up there for me. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Oh, Ricochet. Ricochet is one I love. Not anything to do with that. Is strictly in.
It's all in ring.
It's the same reason that Jeff Hardy's my favorite of all time. Just the in-ring stuff is so crazy that I get hooked. I love that.
So your three favorite. Say it again.
I don't know if I have an order, but I'll give it LA Knight. Montez Ford is number 1.
Mm.
Probably LA Knight 2. And then I guess Seth Rollins 3.
Okay.
But Cody's starting to take over for me. I'm really buying into the Cody thing.
I do like Cody. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm going to go LA Knight 1. 2, I'm going Cody. I like Cody.
Yeah.
I like that he's repackaged himself.
He's a master on the mic.
He's really good. He's also good with the media. Like he's good all around. 3, I think I'm going Montez. But I think I need Montez to take a step forward. I think what it's going to take is he's going to have to turn heel.
I don't know.
I think he's going to have to. He doesn't have to stay a heel.
He needs to separate. Well,
he needs to separate.
Yeah.
And he needs to not he's got to change.
Not even separate.
Slightly.
He can do the tag team thing, but he needs to have his own.
Well, he's already kind of doing his own thing, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it's him. It feels like this is just like a side thing.
I would love in like the limited time I've watched. It's been like a couple months, 2-3 months now. I would love to see him and LA Knight go back and forth.
Yeah.
That would be a blast.
Yeah.
I would love that. One other one that's getting kind of old now is KO. I love Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I do too. He feels like he's missing something though. Like a lot of those NXT guys that came up, they all feel like, and I know that obviously Montez is NXT and LA Knight's NXT, so maybe I'm just talking shit here. But
last one, just to give like the women some love.
Oh,
in NXT right now. Soul Rucka or whatever her name is. Have you seen her?
No, I haven't watched NXT.
Well, I've
lately.
I don't watch NXT, but she, I guess, algorithm. She just kind of shows up.
She must be hot.
She definitely is.
Yeah, that's why.
But, but now I follow it. Dude, it's like the most athletic thing I've ever seen.
Dude, if we're talking
she is awesome.
If we're talking women, dude, you got to give credit to Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
She is phenomenal. She's phenomenal. I mean, she can go toe to toe with a lot of the men. Rhea Ripley too.
Sasha, even though she's gone now.
You know what about Sasha or Mercedes Money or whatever the fuck you want to call her? She feels corny.
I can see that.
I love her. I genuinely do. And like my wife, I feel like I had this weird like crush on Sasha. Like I thought she was hot. Like I liked her in ring. I just always enjoyed seeing her on TV for whatever reason. But like the more I saw of her, the more I was like, oh, like.
I think for some of the like I don't want this to sound like negative, but it's for me a lot of stuff the women do. Not all the women, but like the women that are good are the ones that don't seem corny.
Right.
Like,
well, you have to be your and that's what I forget who said this. They talk a lot about like the best character is you being yourself turned up to 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like
I like Becky because she.
Becky's sweet. Becky's a sweetheart. I've actually met Becky Lynch.
Have you?
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. My wife. So when I worked for the Baby Cakes, Becky Lynch and Mojo Rawley came out and they threw out a pitch and like they hung out for a little while and like we had to escort them around. And my wife knew they were there and she was at the game and she was waiting and Becky's being escorted around the back. Like nobody's supposed to see her. And my wife grabs her. And I'm like, first of all, that's a bad idea. Do not do that. Don't grab a random celebrity, wrestler, boxer, fighter. Don't grab someone out of the blue. Like that's going to scare them. You don't know what reaction you're going to get. Don't do it. But my wife is so sweet, and she was just like, I'm so sorry. I was just like, I love you so much, and like just wanted to explain to her that she liked her, and now she's my wife's favorite by far because Becky told her how gorgeous she was, and they had a nice conversation.
Nice.
And, like I don't know, Becky's the sweetest ever.
The thing with the women is it's like there's a very clear cut top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the depth of. And it's weird. Like, there's not a lot that there's a lot of them that can be good in ring, and then there's some that are good on the mic but not good in ring.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that are in that like sweet spot. Like Becky's up there. Rhea's good.
Rhea's pretty good.
I like
man.
Rhea. You can see she's definitely got some like growing to do, but
I agree.
she's about to get this push. It seems like
we haven't mentioned one that's. Some people might think she's where she is because of her name, but I give her all the credit in the world. Charlotte is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Charlotte's great in ring. She's great on the mic.
Yeah, she's good.
Like, she's phenomenal. Like, she's not just okay at one or the other. She's great at both.
I'm trying to think like the ones that are at the top that I don't know how I feel about Bailey. I've never known how I felt about her. I don't like Ronda. I feel like she's forced.
Yeah.
Also, watching her in the ring is rough. Like, it just doesn't. I know that she's supposed to be that, but it just. I imagine if you have a match with Ronda, you're like, fuck, like this is not gonna be fun.
Well, I think they pair people like that, people like Ronda, because she's raw. They pair people like her with people that are gonna protect her, or like people that are gonna be more technically sound. That way, they can make her look better.
Yeah, but going back, Soul Rucka. I think that's how you say it. It's SOLRUCA, I believe. It's like awesome. The stuff she does is incredible. So, there's that. That was our fun wrestling conversation.
There you go.
Yeah.
No Mandy Rose love.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm saying that because I followed Mandy Rose for a while, and then I saw her descent into not OnlyFans world, but like whatever her page is, where she was posting like nudies and like sexually explicit content, and then she got released, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, good for her though.
Yeah, I mean,
making money.
Do you, boo boo?
Who is Soul Rucka? Let me open. Oh, Twitter. All right. Sorry, we can end this conversation.
You should have just went to Twitter originally. That's where everything is.
Pre-show lift. Yeah, you
know. Anyway. Just watch what she does in the ring. It's awesome. She's gonna be
when she looks athletic as fuck.
When she gets to WWE, it's gonna be a rocket ship.
Is she good on the mic?
I don't know. I don't really watch NXT.
Who knows if it's gonna be a rocket ship? She could be terrible.
What you could do at the very worst, she'll be the Ricochet of the women.
That's boring.
No, not to
Ricochet me. Is first of all, Ricochet
He's
is
fun
boring.
to watch.
He's fun to watch.
That's what I mean. At the very worst, she will be fun to watch in the ring.
I wanted so much more for Ricochet. We can end this conversation because I'll go off on so many tangents. I wanted so much more for Ricochet, but like it just never came to be.
Well, he hasn't been around forever.
He's boring.
He's still fresh.
He's boring.
We'll see.
Throw him in AEW, he'll be boring there too. Well, he's a spot monkey.
Hey. It's fun to watch.
No, I could never do the stuff he does, so kudos to him, but that's it.
Anyway, yeah. What a range of topics that was.
Listen, this is what you get sometimes, all right? Who effing knows?
It's what makes us so special.
Yeah. How long did we even talk for? 3 hours?
No, we're under an hour.
Oh, good shit. Good luck, man.
Number 1 in your hearts.
Number 7 in your programs.
Go subscribe to us.
Yeah. At whoever knows everywhere.
Yeah. Go. I don't think we pushed that enough. Go like, follow, subscribe,
Yeah,
all
you
that
probably
stuff.
should do that.
Like we don't have a lot of subscribers. You know, we're trying to grow this. I wish people would tell us more of what they would want to see, so we could. We have a lot of people on Twitter that interact with us and follow us on there. So just like click the thing and go do it on YouTube. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You don't even have to like fucking watch it. Just go subscribe.
You can hate us and like hate like us.
Yeah, DM me. We can talk about reasons you should subscribe.
Like if we have to have you on in order for you to subscribe to us, we might be able to work that out.
We could do that too.
As long as you're not a terrible person.
How desperate are we here? It sounds like this reeks of desperation.
Meh. I don't know.
Because I personally don't give a damn. I do this for fun. If you don't like me, bite me. That's a Rick Steiner reference for any wrestling fans that are still around.
Okay. No, I just want to interact with more people. That's all.
No, I do too. That's fair.
Like I would love I'd love to start getting in arguments in the comments section on our YouTube videos. Like I want to do these things that people get to do. It's fun. Without the posting things for likes.
I want to do a call-in show.
Yes.
We'll get there. Until next time, articles are always posted on theknow.com. We have Chrissy is great. We'll have Chrissy on soon. Chrissy does like post-game articles for the Pels games.
Mm-hmm.
So check those out. We'll probably have some Saints stuff coming up. Tulane stuff be coming out. The draft is coming, so I'm assuming there will be a lot of written stuff coming around that. So,
Join article number 2 just came in my head. I'll put it in the group message.
Yeah, World Baseball Classic just wrapped. We didn't even talk about it. You might see some stuff about that. Who knows?
There's a lot I want to say about the World Baseball
We
Classic.
should get Chrissy on and we could talk about that. Let's do that next week.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where, like, an article would be great.
Right.
But it's so, like, there's so much. We kind of started talking about it last week. There's so much about that, just that whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know
next
that
week
I
will
can put it
be.
into words.
We did wrestling this week and deep discussions. Next week.
Yeah, we're long overdue for baseball.
We'll
talk.
do baseball.
So, yeah.
I fucking hate baseball. I'm going to be honest with you guys. But I will talk about it because I know it.
I love it.
I love it. I just hate it.
I love it.
All right. Until next time, follow us everywhere. Follow at Be in the Know everywhere. I'm at the Patty V on a lot of places. You're at the Dave Rainey. I'm just going to talk for you.
Yeah, that's me.
That's it.
Shouts out to me.
That's all I got.
Later.
Peace.